March is looking to be a pretty good month for PlayStation 4 owners. We've got a lot of highly anticipated games from different genres, and in this video, we're gonna take a look at the games that you should buy and the titles that you should wait for reviews or wait for a sale or just hold off on. We've got 10 games to go over, so let's get right into this. So as far as titles that we believe are buys, first we have Ni no Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdom. Now, of course, if you're not a fan of Japanese RPGs, Ni no Kuni 2 probably won't be the game for you. However, if you're a fan of RPGs, Ni no Kuni 2 is one to look out for. This game looks excellent, and if you played the first Ni no Kuni game, you know why there's so many gamers that are excited for Ni no Kuni 2. Once again, it's being developed by Level 5 Studios, who are incredibly talented. They've worked on some fantastic games like Dark Cloud, Rogue Galaxy, and of course the very first Ni no Kuni title. And that game was arguably the best JRPG of last generation, so hopefully we'll get more of the same from Ni no Kuni 2. So far, the footage we've seen has looked excellent. It's got that same awesome art style, and this will be one that's probably going to be worth the full price of admission. Next up, we have A Way Out. A Way Out is a game that a lot of gamers are excited for. There is one caveat to it. It is a co-op only game. That is going to turn a lot of gamers off. However, let me explain to you that first, A Way Out is a budget $30 title, so that's already great. And even better than that, only one gamer needs to own a copy of The Way Out to get the cooperative experience. So if you buy the game, you can invite a friend to play the game. You both don't need to own the game, so that is great to see. If you're gonna make a game that's cooperative exclusive and the only way to play it is through co-op, this is the way it should be done. And A Way Out is one of the more interesting new IPs that we've seen from EA in a very long time. The game looks very good. It looks like it has some very unique gameplay mechanics, a cool story, and the main characters look pretty engaging too. If the game was priced higher, and if it wasn't for the fact that only one person needs to own the game, I would say that this would be a game that you would obviously hold out for. But given the fact it's a $30 budget title, and given the fact only one person needs to own the game, I think this is an easy buy. And finally, the last game that we think is a buy is Assassin's Creed Rogue Remastered. Now, the remastering thing has been a big element to gaming, especially in this generation. You see games remastered all the time, and we'll talk about more remasters when we talk about the games you should wait for. However, with Assassin's Creed Rogue, the fact is this is still a relatively recent release. It came out back in 2014, the same year that Assassin's Creed Unity was released. AC Rogue was just released exclusively on last generation platforms, and as far as Assassin's Creed games go, Rogue was definitely better than Unity. AC Rogue had a lot of similarities to AC4, and many consider that to be one of the best Assassin's Creed games ever. And while AC Rogue probably isn't as good as AC4, it's still very good, and it's got a very interesting story, very different than a lot of the other Assassin's Creed games. And once again, AC Rogue Remastered is strengthened by the fact that it's only gonna be a $30 budget title. You're gonna get the game, it's remastered, and if you've yet to play AC Rogue, this is gonna be a great way to do so. It is gonna run at 4K on the Pro and Xbox One X, so that's always nice. And again, the fact is, $30 for a remaster like this is the perfect price, so I would say this is a buy if you're a fan of Assassin's Creed. Now let's get into some games that you should wait on. First, we have Final Fantasy 15, the Royal Edition. Now, this on the surface looks like an incredible value. You get Final Fantasy 15, you get the Season Pass, and you get the new Royal Edition upgrade. However, as I've mentioned in previous videos, this isn't a complete version of Final Fantasy 15. We do know that another Season Pass is on the horizon, and if you've already waited this long to play Final Fantasy 15, why not just wait another year and a half for that true complete edition where you're gonna get the first Season Pass and the second Season Pass and all the Royal Edition upgrades and whatever other content Square Enix release in the next year and a half, because they are still very committed to improving the FF15 experience. I can understand back in 2016 we were super eager to get our hands on Final Fantasy 15. We had waited a long time for the game to actually be released, but now the game's been out. If you've already waited a year and a half, you can wait another year or a year and a half and then get the true complete experience, because again, this isn't that. However, it is still a great value. For $50, again, you're getting the base game, the Season Pass, the Royal Edition upgrades. This is probably what should have been released as Final Fantasy 15 in the first place, but hey, let's not get into that debate right now. Next up, this might surprise some of you guys, but Burnout Paradise Remastered, I would say wait on. This is coming from someone that absolutely loved Burnout Paradise. However, you have to look at the facts. This is a game that released all the way back in January of 2008. It's been over a decade since this game has been released, and unlike Assassin's Creed Rogue, that game was released in 2014, so it's still relatively recent. Burnout Paradise, on the other hand, again, over 10 years old, and it's priced $10 higher than AC Rogue Remastered. It's a $40 title, and at $40, I do feel it's $10 too expensive. If this was a $30 title, I think think it would be an easy buy, but given the facts, given that this is a 10-year-old game, yes, you do get all of the DLC content, but again, $40 is just a little bit too expensive, and if I were you, I would wait on a sale, and I could see this game going on sale rather quickly. If you can find it at some point for $25 to $30, then by all means buy it. As I mentioned, Burnout Paradise is a fantastic game. It's just a 10-year-old game for $40 is a little pricey. Then we have the Devil May Cry HD Collection, which once again, I would wait on a sale for. Now, it is releasing at just $30, but this is just an HD collection that was already released on the PlayStation 3 that's being brought over to the PlayStation 4. It includes Devil May Cry 2, and Devil May Cry 3 Special Edition. Those games are pretty good. Devil May Cry 2 is seen as the black sheep of the franchise. Honestly, I probably enjoyed it a little bit more than most, but it's definitely the weakest of the series. Devil May Cry and Devil May Cry 3 are still excellent action games, but at the end of the day, these are just PS2 titles, and it's a re-released HD collection, so I wouldn't pay anything more than $15 for this collection. At $30, it's a little pricey. Put that money towards some of the other titles that are coming out this month, but if you're super eager to revisit Devil May Cry, you know what you're getting here, so maybe it's not a bad buy for you. Scribblenauts Showdown. Scribblenauts is a franchise that had some attention a while back, however, now in 2018, it's kind of fallen to the wayside, but it's looking to come back to prominence with Scribblenauts Showdown, and this one is being released on all major platforms. I really do hope for the best out of Scribblenauts Showdown, but whenever you see a long-running franchise return after a few years off, you have to be a little skeptical about it. Keep your eyes on Scribblenauts Showdown for sure. Just wait for the review, see how the game turns out. It is a very charming game, so I hope for the best, but not one that I would rush and pre-order right away. Next up, we have Attack on Titan 2. As a big fan of the Attack on Titan franchise, you would think that I would say that this would be an absolute buy. However, I cannot say that after playing the first Attack on Titan game. While it had some interesting gameplay mechanics, $60 for these games are just a little bit too pricey, and with Attack on Titan 2, it does seem a lot more of the same compared to the first one. It does obviously tackle later story content. This is one, while it's a game we haven't played, we kind of know what we're getting out of this. It's a Tecmo Koei product, and unfortunately, they are a little by the numbers with their game releases. Hopefully, it turns out well, but it's not a title I would pay $60 for. Another one I would highly recommend you to keep an eye on, but wait for the reviews, is Agony. Agony is a highly anticipated horror game that really seems to be embodying that element of horror, and atmospherically it looks fantastic. However, it is a brand new IP being developed by a smaller studio, so my skepticism is a little bit higher than most. On the surface, it does look very interesting, but I've been following survival horror games for a while now, and some of them do turn out really well. We've seen titles like Resident Evil 7 and The Evil Within 2, Outlast. They've been really good, but on the flip side, they do have a tendency to really disappoint, so these days I cannot recommend a new IP horror game right off the bat, but this one does look really interesting, and I would absolutely keep your eyes on it. If the critics agree in saying that it's a quality game, then I would check it out for sure. And finally, one that I would wait for a sale on, this again might surprise some of you, but Far Cry 5. There's been a lot of talk about Far Cry 5, and I think most gamers agree in that it's a lot more of the same from Far Cry 3 and Far Cry 4. Now, it does tweak some gameplay elements, but the core structure and design of the game very reminiscent to Far Cry 3 and 4. Not necessarily a horrible thing, because Far Cry 3 was a really good game, but Far Cry 4 suffered from some problems, and in comparison to a lot of other high-quality open-world games, the open world in Far Cry does seem a bit barren, and the content is a bit lifeless to it. On top of that, Ubisoft games recently have been going on sale rather quickly. Assassin's Creed Origins was a game so many were excited for, much more than Far Cry 5, and look at that game, it's already down to $30 just a few months after its release. I can easily see Far Cry 5 being discounted to similar price levels by the summer. We're talking June, July. So if you're not a huge fan of the Far Cry franchise, waiting a couple of months may turn out to pay dividends, so that's what I would recommend. So that is going to conclude this video. I hope I was able to give you some insight on the PS4 releases coming in March. A lot of interesting titles. As I mentioned, I think Ni no Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdom, A Way Out, and Assassin's Creed Rogue Remastered are games you should buy. The other titles have a lot of promise. With games like Burnout Paradise Remastered, I would just wait on a sale. Same with Far Cry 5. Agony does have a lot of potential, but I am very skeptical about it. But let us know what you think in the comment section down below. Do you agree with me? Disagree? Sound off? Thank you for watching, and goodbye.